Hello, and welcome to What Are the Odds? In today's video, we will discuss the likelihood that the events are to be repeated in Edge of Tomorrow. An alien invasion of mimics has stretched to 5 years with a single human victory at Verdun. Rita Vertasky has been coined the Angel of Verdun, mostly because of her heroics in taking out hundreds of mimics. The film follows Major William Cage. He wakes in a helicopter flying over London. He meets the general at United Defense Force headquarters. They discuss Operation Downfall. The general wants William to sell the invasion. He is to ship off to the coast in an hour with a camera crew in tow. After a disagreement, the general gets the major arrested. Cage is tased and wakes on a bed of bags. He's just been placed in Forward Operating Base, Heathrow. He talks with Master Sergeant Farrell, who takes him to J Squad, in charge of seeing that he's combat ready come 0600. Griff gets Cage suited up in a mechanized weapon suit. Before they can deploy, their plane gets shot up. Cage lands in the water. The Angel of Verdun is killed. A mimic surfaces under J Squad and tears them to shreds. Cage shoots at it, but is approached by an Alpha. In a last-ditch effort, Cage blows the Alpha up along with himself and dies. He wakes up again on his bed of bags. The moment the Alpha's blood is entwined with Cage's, we'll consider to be the film's inciting incident. We'll determine the events after we've seen the film's final event. Cage relives the day over. We'll mark this as day 2, and any other days we see on film will be marked as N+1, with N being the last day seen, with an asterisk marking a significant jump in time, and a plus sign designating multiple days seen on screen. Cage is confused over his strange deja vu, including meeting Sergeant Farrell, J Squad, and deploying over the beach. He saves the Angel of Verdun, but is shot in the process and killed. Day 3, he pleads how he's witnessed the looming battle and subsequent slaughter to Farrell. He gets deployed anyway with tape over his mouth. He deploys earlier than before and is killed trying to save Kimmel, another soldier. Day 4, he is killed by a truck trying to save the Angel of Verdun. Day 5 asterisk successfully saves the Angel of Verdun. She tells him to find her when he wakes up, and they die in an explosion. Day 6 asterisk the platoon goes on a run. Private Cage gets reprimanded and is told to do 50 push-ups. As the rest of the platoon takes part, Cage tries to flee by rolling under an oncoming vehicle, but fails. Day 7, he is successful in his evasion of Sergeant Farrell and visits the Angel of Verdun, Rita, who's in the middle of training. It turns out Rita had the same power and lost it. They go to see Dr. Carter, who's aware of the situation. He explains that instead of an army, they are closer to fighting a single organism. The common drones are like the claws. The alphas, like the one Cage killed, are much more rare. They number 1 in 6.18 million and act as the enemy's central nervous system. The Omega is like the brain and has the ability to control time. Whenever an Alpha is killed, the Omega starts the day over again. By killing the Alpha and stealing its blood, Cage has seized the power over resetting the day. Supposedly, he will get visions and see where the Omega is. Cage has to reset the day until they can find and kill the Omega. Cage breaks his back during training. Rita tells Cage to make sure he dies if he gets injured, otherwise a blood transfusion will lose the power. Rita kills Cage. Day 8, more training. When he suffers another injury, Rita shoots him dead. Day 9 plus asterisk, several days more training. Cage receives a vision of where the Omega is. Day 10, Cage tells Dr. Carter about the vision. They plan to outwit the mimics on the beach and survive. On the beach, Cage gets killed by a mimic. Day 11 plus asterisk. They repeatedly die on the beach due to various mimics. Day 12 asterisk. 2 members of J Squad find Cage and struggle to fight him. Cage flees to London and drinks in a pub. A group of mimics track him down and kills him. Day 13 asterisk. Cage is training without Rita to guide him. Dr. Carter has located the Omega at Cornera Dam in Germany. Cage saves J Squad from the digging mimic. They make it out of the battlefield. Cage explains to Rita that they'll need a vehicle to get further inland, but there is an ambush waiting for them. Cage goes for the green SUV while Rita targets the minivan. Rita gets it started but forgets to unhook the trailer and a mimic pops out of it on the road. Cage dispatches it. They run out of gas and trek on foot. Cage's suit powers down. They find a farmhouse and find a helicopter in the back. Cage tries to stall and Rita pieces together that he's made it to the farmhouse with Rita multiple times. Cage tells Rita that there is a mimic buried 20 yards away that attacks when the engine is started. Rita starts the helicopter and the mimic rips through. Cage kills the mimic with an axe and finds Rita dying. They are both killed by several mimics. Day 14 asterisk. Cage goes to see Rita but hesitates and walks away. From Griff, he requests 3 more clips of 5.56, 8 grenades, and an extra battery. He flies the helicopter to the dam and checks it out. It turns out it was an ambush all along, and Cage drowns himself before his blood can be reclaimed. Day 15 asterisk. Cage tells Rita and Dr. Carter that it was a trap to get their power back. They plan to use the transponder, Dr. Carter's invention, to find the Omega. To get the equipment they need, they go to Whitehall. They visit the General, and Cage tries to explain the situation. The General gives them the equipment. As they leave, however, they are ambushed, and Rita kills Cage. Day 16, Rita instructs Cage to stick the transponder in his leg. He sees visions of the Louvre. Inside, it's flooded. Going down to a garage underneath the museum, he sees the Omega. Cage gets shot and wakes up later in a hospital bed. He's been given blood and has lost the power. Rita and Cage escape. They recruit J Squad to help them get to Paris. They fly in and the ship is shot down. Cage survives. He finds Rita and the surviving J Squad members, less 3 men. They take off with Ford in tow and break into the Omega's fortress. Rita distracts a roaming Alpha and Cage destroys the Omega. The Omega's blood coats Cage as he dies. Day 17, Cage wakes in the helicopter back over London. A large surge of energy was detected in Paris, the result of which means the collapse of the enemy's capacity to fight. Cage visits Heathrow to see Rita. Event number 1, Cage interacts with Rita. Event number 2, Cage trains. Event number 3, Cage survives the ambush. Event number 4, Cage and Rita retrieve the transponder. Event number 5, Cage, Rita, and J Squad destroy the Omega. This film's final event is that Cage destroys the Omega and steals its blood. Factors include Rita, training, survival, transponder, and destruction. As for the reasons, the only difference between days seems to be the maintenance of memory of previous days. Due to that, I'd strongly consider bringing along an easy method to end the day as soon as new information was acquired. Meeting Rita is crucial as she is well informed of the situation. Training and survival is important for Cage to be able to progress through the day successfully. Recovering the transponder and finding the Omega are, of course, vital. For the odds, we'll calculate how likely it is that Cage steals the Omega's blood before his blood can be stolen back. The 5 factors will be broken down by the amount of days. Without interference from the Omega and the Alphas, Cage's task would seemingly be unstoppable and come with a guaranteed 100% clip. Therefore, we merely need to determine the Omega's resistance through each of the 5 factors. For Rita, preventing Cage from interacting with Rita seems impossible for the Omega, as she is someone Cage is able to interact with from the start of his days, or the beginning of the initial battle. However, where they are deployed isn't fixed. Cage witnessing Rita's death may have driven him to focus on her originally. There are many potential factors to calculate. How likely Cage makes it out of the dropship, how likely it is that Cage makes it far enough to Rita. However, some of these may be baked in as initial conditions. Therefore, I'll take a 1 in 26, not for which lettered squad Cage is assigned to, a likely initial condition rather than a probable outcome, but for which of the lettered squads happen to give him the best chance to end up how he does, witnessing Rita's demise. Even if there aren't 26 lettered squads serving under Farrell, this number may as well serve as the number tangential to the Angel of Verdun during battle. Training. Although the response is said to be automatic, when an alpha dies, the response isn't instantaneous. However, I find it hard to believe Cage's status wouldn't immediately be known to the Omega. Assuming while stationed at Hethro, Cage is safe, the days he spends training are uninterrupted. However, the enemy invasion is able to gain intel themselves during this time. Therefore, I'll approximate the days during which Cage's blood could have been stolen/transfused. These are the days Cage makes it out of Hethro: 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Only on day 16 does Cage's blood get transfused. However, on any of these days, the Omega and Alphas could have launched an ambush, as they did at the dam on day 14. That's 11 unique days, so we'll take 1 in 11 for the odds he loses his power on any given day throughout his mission to overtake the Omega. As for survival, Cage's survival technically doesn't matter on any given day, only that he can't be caught by the Alphas and Omega at the dam, or let day 16's events transpire as they did to lose his power. With the transponder, now as long as Cage maintains a method to end the day whenever he so chooses, his blood likely remains safe during their hunt for the Omega. With that not the case, the 1 in 11 may apply for any of the days. We'll approximate the lowest number of days it takes to get to unique day 16. Day 3, 4, 5 with 5 days, 6 with 2 days, 10, 11 with 8 days, 13 with 30 days, 14 with 5, 15 with 10, and 16. In total, 64 days. The odds of failure, in other words, the odds the 1 in 11 doesn't happen, is 10 over 11 to the 64th, or 0.0022. As for the destruction, finally, once they know the location of the Omega, its destruction can be broken into a number of steps: getting to the Louvre, breaking in, sacrifices, and blowing up the Omega. They entrusted J Squad with getting them to the Omega, but were shot down. From that point on, their getting into the Louvre relied on several sacrifices. However, Rita's sacrifice in place of Cage matters most, as if Cage were to sacrifice himself, he'd never be able to steal the Omega's blood. So a 1 over 2. What makes this all possible is the fact that the Omega wouldn't want to have Cage killed outright, as they still don't know Cage has lost his ability. Otherwise, they would have an Alpha kill themselves by any means and reset the day, neutering the threat of Cage. Multiplying the odds, we get 1 in 26 times 11 over 5,000 times 1 over 2 to equal 1 in 260,000. Well, now we know, if you were to travel to a random split with the exact same necessary initial conditions, the likelihood that you'd see these same events transpire and the successful outcome of the final event is 0.00038%.